Hello friends, I am Gaurav Makwana. I welcome you all to my another video tutorial of Biotech guide. And in this video lecture, I'll come with a update from the fermentation technology, and we're going to discuss about theory of alcoholic fermentation, or we can say ethanol production from the molasses. So basically, in this video lecture, I'll cover the main points. First, definition or principle. Then after, second, fermentable substrate. What kind of fermentable substrate are used? Then same fermentation media, what kind of media are used. Then model organism, which model organism or inoculum is used for this fermentation process. Then condition, what kind of condition are required. Then after the process, what are the byproducts are there, and at the end, uses of our product ethanol. Okay, so this all main points are covered in this video. So as usual, today's video going on very interesting level. Stay tuned with us and enjoying this video lecture. Let us start first with the definition of principle. So alcoholic fermentation is a biological process, okay, which defining as a ethanolic fermentation, okay, where any kind of a sugar like as a glucose, fructose and a sucrose is converted into the cellular energy, okay, and produce ethanol with a carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Okay, we'll take mechanism, we'll see the mechanism, conversion mechanism, where we get the brief idea about what is the procedure is there. So sucrose, okay, is a sugar, is converted into the ethanol and carbon dioxide as a byproduct. Okay, so this process is defining as a alcoholic fermentation or a ethanol fermentation. Here number stand as a 5.64 is a number defining as a when we take sucrose in this amount, so we'll get after the process 5.18. That means a 97% of a conversion. Okay, that means we take a 5.64 and we'll get a 5.18. So that is a 97% of a conversion, 97% of a conversion or a efficacy of this process. Similar, we'll take when we'll take a glucose. So glucose is also process is same, C6H12O6. Only the difference is the number of carbon and number of oxygen. Here the number of carbon is a 12, 11, and the number of carbon is a 6, and oxygen is also 6. Okay, glucose is converted into the ethanol and CO2 as a byproduct. Okay, similar here when we'll take a 2.816, so we'll get a 2.742% of our product. This is similar 97% of a conversion. Okay, so this is the simplest mechanism behind this alcoholic fermentation or ethanolic fermentation. Next, we will going to discuss about a fermentation media and a fermentation substrate. So let us start first fermentable substrate. What kind of fermentable substrate which we can use to initiate the process? So three kind of substrate which we can use: sugary, starchy or cellulosic material. And sugary material we can use molasses, sugarcane, sweet potato, sugar beet, sorghum, and any kind of sugar, glucose, fructose and lactose. And starchy material we can use cereals, roots and mild products. In cereals, wheat, maize, barley, sorghum, corn, rice, we can use. From the root, potato or tropica we can use, and from the mild products, wheat flour and corn feed, we can use starchy material as a fermentable source. And cellulosic material we use wood, paper waste and agriculture waste. So any one of this we can use as a first primary ingredient to initiate the fermentation process. Second, fermentation medium. So organism is required nutrient for the acceleration. So kind of a carbon, nitrogen and vitamins and a growth factors is as a nutrient which required for the acceleration of a microbe. And this nutrient is derived from the raw material, like carbon is derived from the molasses and starch, nitrogen is derived from the soybean ammonium salts, urea nitrate salts and phosphate salts, and the vitamin and growth factors is derived from the biotin, yeast extract and a wheat meal. So this kind of nutrient requirement is there for this specific microbial growth. which will provide we are using this kind of a fermentation media nutrient component. For study about the brief in fermentation media, we already uploaded one video, link given in the description box, so you may visit out there. Next, main important organism. So we use here organism for a inoculum. Okay, inoculum, that means an additional source or a size of microorganism which is required for the utilization of a substrate and conversion of the product. So here in the range of a 3 to 10% we use this kind of a bacterial or a yeast strain for the fermentation process. Here we take a bacteria like as a Clostridium acidobutylicum, Klebsiella pneumoniae, Zymomonas mobilis as a bacterial strain, and for the yeast strain we use Saccharomyces cerevisiae, Saccharomyces oviformis, Saccharomyces sacchi, Saccharomyces carispegenesi, Candida utilis or Bucus species. So those kind of organism we use for the ethanolic fermentation process. Next, condition for the fermentation process. So we discussed fermentation media, we discussed fermentation substrate, then organism. So here those all ingredients are used in the application of different modes, like as a organism. So organism here we used as a inoculum. Inoculum, that means a perfect amount of a bacterial or a yeast strain which is used to convert our desired product from the substrate. Like here the inoculum size is what, in range of a 3% to 10% is average, but we use a 4%. Okay, 4% of a specific bacterial strain to convert fermentation media to our desired product. Then media, 10 to 18% concentration is appropriate, and more than 20% could be determinable of a yeast. Okay, so this kind of inoculum or a media which we use. Then after, carbon source, so pure sugar or a crude sugar, those are used for the carbon source. Then nitrogen source, we used ammonium sulfate as a nitrogen source. Then growth factor, so basically molasses we use for the growth factor. So these are the basic requirement for the condition of a fermentation process. Now parameters like a pH average of 4.8 to 5 is a basically standard pH for the alcoholic fermentation process. Then temperature 70 to 18 Fahrenheit or controlled by the cooling jacket. Then time, so depends on the bacterial strain. Here we use yeast strain. So basically the growth of a yeast strain is usually between the 13 to 72 hours. So basically time is depends on the bacterial or a yeast strain. And at the end of a process, after 30 to 72 hours, we get a 0.4 gallon of a ethyl alcohol per 1 gallon of a molasses. So basically, as we discussed in the conversion mechanism, 97% of substrate is utilized and converted into the ethyl alcohol, our desired product. So here same is written, 90% of carbohydrates can be converted into the alcohol. So this is the complete brief procedure of ethanol fermentation. Now we'll brief the whole procedure in the form of a chart. So here we take a sugary material as a fermentable substrate, sugarcane or sugar beet. We extracted sugar from there, and we'll take this sugar into a fermentation tank or fermenter. Similar, if we use a corn, so grinding, mashing and cooking is applied, and then after is applicable for used into the fermentation process. So basic first step is what? To preparation of a primary feedstock. Then after, in a fermentation process, inoculum is required. Okay, basically ideal 4% 4 to 10% inoculum is required. Like here we use a Saccharomyces cerevisiae. So that inoculum is take 30 to 72 hours from the completion of a procedure. Okay, then another important factor, that is a pH. pH is basically 4.8 to 5 and temperature 70 to 80 Fahrenheit. So those are the controlled condition is applied, and after the fermentation process 30 to 72 hours beer is formed. Okay, after that two distillation is required. First distillation is converted this beer into a spent beer. Okay, at that time ethanol is also produced, but this ethanol is not 100% pure. So second distillation is applied. We are using or application of a benzene. This impure ethanol is converted into the 100% pure ethanol. So this is the complete brief whole procedure of a ethanol production. You may use this table in your exam point of view. Then next byproducts. So after completion of the procedure, three main basic byproducts are generated or formed basically. So first one is a carbon dioxide used for the production of a dry ice, and its pure form is used for the soft drinks. Then yeast biomass, so used for the animal fodder, contains a high protein, vitamin or additional nutritional value. Then third distilled effluents. So basically this is used for the fertilizer and animal feed. Then uses of our desired product. So here at the end of procedure, ethanol is produced, which is used as a fueling agent. Some alcohols, mainly ethanol or methanol, is used as a fueling agent. Then also having a preservative property, so also act as a preservative. Then in some solvent, ethanol is used, like as in the medical drugs, perfumes, vegetable essence such as a vanilla. Ethanol plays an important role. Then in antiseptic, used to disinfect our skin. Then other property like as alcoholic beverages, and also act as an anti-freezing agent. So these are the basic main use of ethanol. At the end, conclusion, why we use this fermentation process. So because of ethyl alcohol having a used widely consumption as well as the industrial purpose. Second, byproducts also we get at the end of a procedure, carbon dioxide, yeast biomass and the distilled effluents, which is also having another application. And third, effective utilization of a agro waste, also molasses, liquator or a sulfate. So this is the complete all steps or the main points which is required to complete the ethanol 100% pure ethanol formation process. So here we completed our video. I hope you enjoyed very well and got it very well. Thanks for watching, and if you want to get more and more interesting updates like that, join with us and be a perfect biotechnologist. Thank you so much, friends.